right, here we go. So, this is completely unscripted. I just have a few notes I'm running off of. Um, I'll start by sharing a story. The story is there was this college class, all right, and the professor broke the class into two groups. One group had to make pots, so it was like I don't know, like art, whatever pottery class. So one group had to make pots, and the other group had to make um, uh, pots. And the way that the groups were different was, other than the fact that they were both making pots, was one group would make as many pots as they possibly could in the given time frame. Say, the entire semester, like a month or two, whatever remained. And then the other group, they were making pots at whatever pace they liked. In other words, like and focusing on like quality. So they'd make fewer pots in terms of volume. And at the end of the semester, the professor ended up evaluating, and I think it was like kind of like a because they actually structured this as an official experiment. So it might have been more than the professor, but the group that was making pots as fast as they possibly could actually had the higher quality pots in the end, um, and they thus earned the better grade. So the idea or the suggestion with that story is that the more times that you get up to bat, the better that the outcome may ultimately actually be. So this video is the start of that. I'm putting this on my personal channel here. My name is Matt. If you don't know who I am, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. I'm also an artist and a non-degreed engineer, since some people in the comments have had problems with that in the past. Meaning, I'm self-taught in terms of computer programming, computer science, and AI and data science. So, so part of what I am to do here is make one video per day, and share my journey as an entrepreneur. Um, I've had my business for 15 years. Just a matter of like 3 weeks ago was the anniversary, and I was just thinking. I celebrated with a friend, came over, and I was just kind of thinking that day to myself and a little bit with my friend that night. 15 years. Wow, like that is a big chunk of time, a big chunk of life. I mean, I hope to live forever, but um, at the moment, that is a big chunk of my life. And my question is like, how should I feel about this? I didn't really know how to feel about it. I guess I felt that, there's so much more to accomplish in general. There's just so much more to go after. And I've achieved some really big milestones. I mean, for example, I started the company with literally $200 in the bank. I was looking for jobs at the time. I had just graduated college and come home. My previous startup, which was marketing software for restaurants, it's called Blue Sky Local. We would like send coupons to customers based on changing weather patterns and to try to like predict slow sales days and basically get people in the door. The industry term for that is called yield management, if you care. But it was a really cool concept. We made some sales, and it was the best business I had started to date, but it wasn't enough in terms of volume to continue pursuing it. And the sales breaking in, I didn't know what I didn't know about marketing at the time. So I stopped doing that. I moved home, um, and I just kind of felt like a loser for about 5 months. And I started looking for jobs at the encouragement of my family. And I got to the point though where I just knew this wasn't what I wanted to do, and I had just like a rekindled conviction that I could start a new company and I would just figure it out. I wasn't sure what it would be. I wasn't sure where we would go, but I would figure it out. Um, and it turned out that that's the company that we have today. Our mission is to accelerate creativity and the entrepreneurial spirit, to accelerate creativity and the entrepreneurial spirit. And the company today is branded as Grobo, grobo.com, Growbo.com if you're interested. And we've achieved milestones in recent years, like cracking seven figures for the first time in 2021, and becoming a multi-million dollar company in terms of aggregate revenue. But due to some personal challenges that I faced in the last year and a half or so, I kind of lost a lot of my fire, honestly, for the business. And I've been really working to try to figure out why is that and how do I get it back? One of the conclusions that I've come to is that if you lose passion for something, the one of the best approaches is really to just kind of start, because you're never really going to want to do it. And it's almost like the action or momentum of doing something is what carries you forward. So that's part of what I'm doing here. That's part of what I've started doing at other times. I also think part of that, other than the personal challenge that I faced, just in terms of certain people exiting my life in multiple forms, I think that getting over and accepting that loss and figuring out how to grow from it and what was it that I can do better going forward. I'm definitely in a really good place right now. And the other factor, though, is that I just, if you lose passion for something, maybe it's because you're just exhausted. And I think that I burned out. I was working on some cutting edge AI research projects internally as well, on top of working on the business, and I let the business kind of flounder. So the business is doing okay now. It's doing a lot better than it was in November of last year, but we're at a place now where like the business is ready to grow. And so part of what I want to share in these videos is, not just at a personal level, like how am I going to work to overcome these challenges on a mindset, on a mental, um, you know, emotional and or mental grit level, but also just from a practical standpoint, like how are we going to market? How are we going to solve our own problem? Because I think that's interesting, and I hope it inspires you as I be open about it. I'm going to really push myself to be open. This is something, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and I'm a recovering perfectionist. So I'm going to try not to censor myself in terms of like what I share, or to like try to look like I've got it all figured out, because I don't, you don't, no one does. That's the reality of it. And yeah, I mean, I'm just going to do my best to be completely vulnerable and open with you, even if it's uncomfortable. So the other reason too, other than burnout, and referring to burnout, is I had no real social life. I was, for pretty much all of my 20s, I was working very hard. And again, like within the first year that I started in business, we achieved six figures, faced a major setback. Things went down again, came back from it, went down again. And that happened like a few times. I think the one common denominator was that, yes, me, but more than it being just me, it's like, okay, well, what was I doing that didn't make the business grow consistently? I think that it was just, it was focus, because I had so much shiny object syndrome, and I still do, as I'll talk about in a second. Let's make a note of something I want to say. So yeah, that and just believing like, oh no, I had to, because the business, for context, is like a services business, right? And it's now a technology enabled service business, and it's productized. So basically what we do is, for businesses who need to get their marketing done, typically that requires a number of skill sets: copywriting, design, development, project management, ads management, VA type of tasks, and more, to just kind of get it all done, in terms of whether it's maintaining and optimizing your own marketing and sales funnel, or many of our clients are agencies. So that means actually, for their agencies, they want to get this work done. And so they just delegate it to us. and pay a flat monthly fee for a subscription and basically get like an all-in-one team for a fraction of the cost. And that's the value that we provide. And it's a productized service, delegate unlimited tasks. And basically, if you're on a higher subscription, you can have more tasks running in parallel at once. And you also get faster turnaround and other benefits like phone support, for example. So it's a really cool service. We've really, really honed the model and the operations of the business. And we're constantly improving on the tech front too. But the problem is we're just not getting consistent leads. And there have been times where we were. So part of what is holding that back, which maybe some of you watching this can relate to, is Google SEO. So Google right now, in the age of AI is disrupting a lot of things. And one of the things that is changing is that people are beginning to suspect that Google is going to, and I mean, they're even telling us this, so it's not even a suspicion anymore. Google is going to be coming out with their AI mode for search. In other words, when you search in the future, you'll just get an AI response rather than search results. So that's the probable future at the moment. That could change, but that's the probable future at the moment. Where, and what implication does this have? Well, it means that Google has driven so much traffic to websites and been such an economic engine for websites. So it was always like a symbiotic relationship. And obviously people were trying to game the system. And that's the whole kind of point of SEO, search engine optimization, is to rank as high as possible in search results for different keywords that other people are searching for. And then, as a result, you get traffic from that is relevant and that people are going to come to your site and potentially want to buy from you or get in your email list and maybe buy or refer business to you in the future. So the future looks like a potential zero traffic from Google future. And so this has affected our business like it affects and is affecting all of the businesses right now. So the question is, and what we're trying to figure out is like, how do we get consistent leads? The easy and kind of lazy answer is, maybe it's not lazy, but just pay for ads. Know your customer acquisition cost and just pay that cost. And as long as your price is higher and you have enough margin built in, you'll make that money back pretty easily. Okay. We have never really relied solely on ads. So it's a little bit uncomfortable to kind of go after that. And also in terms of budget, I'm thinking like there's more competition now. What's the learning curve going to be like? Are we going to have to like spend 20, 30K just to actually kind of get up that learning curve, even though in the past, we saw it working. So we know that it would work now, and we see some of the copycats out there because, again, we are the original. We are one of the first productized services ever on the internet, going back to 2014, 2013. So, but people are going to copy each other. I don't like take it personal. If anything, it's, I guess, flattering. They say imitation is the highest form of flattery, or something like that. So, so that's one challenge that we're facing, and I look forward to giving you an update in the near future on that. Now, getting back to the shiny object syndrome, as an entrepreneur, we've got many priorities right now, and I'm going to wrap up this video in a few minutes. But so what other priorities are we looking at? So I think that we can actually attract a lot of traffic and users at the top of our funnel just by building something that is free or like less expensive, and just building in like viral mechanisms as part of it. So what does that mean? What is an example? So last summer we launched our AI automation platform. We just called it kind of like internally Grobo AI. And we launched it, and we got up to like 2K MRR, which is pretty good. That's actually way better than I've done with any other SaaS software that we've launched in the past. So that was cool. And we still have people paying for it today. We still use it today, but we just didn't freaking market it. I think in part, like we kind of went all in on it and then realized that like the people who we were marketing to wasn't the same as our current client base. And if we were going to sell each account at $99 a pop, although the margins on software are obviously pretty good compared to the services business, we just were making so much more volume in terms of revenue and profit with that, where someone is paying like a minimum of $600 a month up to about $3,000 a month. So it just didn't make economic sense for us to continue focusing and making like that AI automation platform our primary focus. Furthermore, the user experience was just not very good. Like just the onboarding, the user interface, it just was not intuitive for a lot of people. It was sort of like a recipe where you have like a series of steps, and you click play, and then whatever you want the AI to kind of think about, reflect, like, okay, right, go and research a blog, then think about it, pick the best research points, then outline the blog, then draft the article, then redraft the article, reflect on it, then give a final draft and go publish it on WordPress. So that was kind of like our flagship use case. And I think like also self-doubt is a big factor there. It's like, well, this is kind of a big risk. And I think that we could have like just kept going with it without pause. But we did take a pause, and we never really promoted it after we launched kind of the freemium version of it, because even the reception that we got for the free version was like lukewarm. So it's kind of like, I'm not sure why that is, but I just think like the audience that we were going after this whole time was just different, and there wasn't enough overlap. Like we were doing like two things. We were doing the software, and then we had our other software for our Done For You service. So now we're working on, the new, our new AI platform, which is kind of like a version 2, but it's just completely new from the ground up, applying those lessons that we've learned and not making the same mistakes as in the past. So I guess part of these videos in sharing the journey is like also hopefully that they will reach other entrepreneurs who I think are more of the target market, because what we're going to build is more of like a similar value proposition, but it's going to be a lot more visual. So for non-coders, non-developers, you'll be able to use this new AI platform, which we call Grobo Creator. And we want it to feel like very much like a lot more organic, where it's almost like you have like a virtual office, and Grobos are the little AI automated entities and or human Grobos to get work done, right? And so the vision is that you can build anything and you can run your entire business on the Grobo platform. And I think that we're going to charge based on the number of Grobos that you have on your account, whether they be AI Grobos or human Grobos. And it's just going to feel like much more organic, and it's going to be designed to appeal to non-coders, non-developers with a very low friction and like easy learning curve. It's also going to be designed to be collaborative. So imagine like a virtual whiteboard, and you have like a diagram of like a process that you need to automate in your business, whether it's related to marketing or it's related to internal ops. You'll be able to build web pages, images, graphics, and just collaborate on marketing collateral or operations related priorities with your team. The other thing is that instead of having two pieces of software, this new Grobo Creator is going to be designed to replace our current project management platform. Because again, like focus is key. So we need to define what the synthesis is, which is instead of having two, we have one, and then we synthesize by actually getting it done and launching it. So that is the plan right now. There's more details that I can share with you about how we're going to go about doing that. But I did see that other entrepreneurs have had success by like building in public. So that's more or less what I'm kind of going to be doing. And I'll be screen sharing previews with you in upcoming videos. So if that's interesting to you at all, do like and subscribe to the channel so you can get future updates. And I will definitely be screen sharing how's it going. So we have something that's like kind of functional now, and it's getting there more and more each day. And it's really cool because the idea of like being able to build software that's like all these fucking AI, vibe coding platforms. I don't think that the UI is very good. I think that the whole chat UI is really just unintuitive, and it feels clunky and a lot of typing. I think something that's much more visual I'm much more focused on an experience where you're talking. I think that is, from a software development standpoint too, I think it's about, you're able to build something that's much more sustainable. Mm-hmm. And that's, and not only that, but it's just easy and intuitive to understand, just like how, the different steps work. So we're building our own custom framework, blah, blah, blah. And I look forward to sharing something that you can actually see soon. To solve the marketing problem, the other thing that we're looking at is just creating video essays that are kind of creative and expressive of like, well, what do we believe as a company? Where do we think the future is? Sharing interesting thoughts in terms of like business philosophy and philosophy about technology coming up. So we have our first video essay that's in progress right now. And the idea is like this is going to be like produced for the purposes of commentary and education. And if people see that it is, created by Grobo at the end in the credits, that's going to be awesome. And it's going to be like a good kind of like branding vehicle, as well as maybe indirect promotion for the business. But yeah, we hope people really like that video, and I'll be sharing that coming up. On a personal level, and this is where I think the distraction starts to really kind of come in, because other than these other items where, as a company, we're able to kind of walk and chew gum at the same time. Me personally, I'm also working on this sci-fi trilogy, the second draft that I've already written. But I'm able to use AI to kind of help with that. And I think that maybe I can bring what I'm doing there into the AI platform somehow coming up. So I'm kind of working to scale myself with using AI to kind of like assist me with some edits and feedback, which helps me to write faster. But yeah. And on top of that, I have social events I've been throwing. So I'm just trying to find ways, and in part I'll be talking about that as I figure it out, like how do I synthesize all this stuff? Because I've been throwing social events. I'm thinking like, how can I use the social events and the group that I put together to actually promote the business? I think maybe just like asking friends for referrals is going to be like a good way to do it. And yeah, so I think kind of a limiting belief is that, that there is actually a problem that is like in any way like just unsolvable, and just recognizing like self-doubt in yourself and recognizing that that influences your whole view on not just an intellectual level, but the intellectual is really driven by subconscious beliefs and emotions. So if the emotion is one of insecurity, it's like, do I believe that I can solve the problem? Do you believe that you can solve whatever problem is in front of you? And I think that just like meditation, exercise, and journaling and sleep are some of the biggest helpful levers that you can pull on to actually give yourself a leg up. I believe those things, by the way, that I just named also, and I would also add to that list a fifth one, running, just literally boost your IQ and increase your focus, increase your creativity, your ability to just see reality more clearly, and without the lens of these, without the like at least a less distorted lens in terms of like underlying subconscious beliefs and emotions that may be making you think, oh, it's not going to work, or oh, I can't see the solution, and sort of like predetermining, your own potential for not succeeding, for failing. But the reality is that on the way to success, failure is the journey. I mean, like quite literally, if you have a website and 1% of people who come to your website, meaning 99% of people you fail to convert, you have a successful business. 1% of traffic converting is considered pretty damn good. And it depends on your price points too, obviously, and your market and your margins and all that. But that is just typical for sales. Is the majority of leads just do not convert, like, even when they've become a lead, even when they've joined your email list. So for example, I was really proud when in 2018, when I was just focused on selling info products, because I really wanted to learn how to do that. So we started creating our own info products, and it was really fun. So 12% of everyone who joined our email list actually bought something from us. And considering that we were getting dozens and dozens and dozens of people joining the email list, that was a number that I was really proud of, 12%. So On that note, though, in terms of like underlying limiting beliefs that are just really coming from a subconscious place or just a place where maybe you're not emotionally healed in some way from your past. Um, this quote that I heard on this podcast today from Mixergy, Andrew Warner was interviewing the CEO of Close, formerly Close.io, now Close.com. Actually, no. He was interviewing Tucker Max. That's right. This was the second podcast that just started. And Tucker Max was quoting someone else where he said, he was talking about like other people having opinions of him and who he cares like his opinion about, and how or whether that matters at all in business. And the quote is, "No one sees the world as it is. They see it as they are." Again, no one sees the world as it is. They see it as they are. So I thought about that in relation to sales. And I thought about what I was saying to my team on the call earlier today. And how I was saying to the team, we are ready to grow. We have our operations on point. We have people on the team. We have extra capacity. We've learned so many amazing lessons. We just need to solve the problem of impressions or, eyeballs, people who are in our target market, just seeing our offer at the top of our funnel. If we can do that better, because again, like Google and seasonality with the fact that it's the summer now, big influence. Like based on where we're at, we only need to do that a little bit better, and we can just really start growing as a business. Like we are ready, So in thinking about that and this quote, "No one sees the world as it is. They see it as they are." I was thinking, you know what? Back in college, I had no fucking idea what I was doing in terms of sales. And I just went after it because I just wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be in business. I was excited to just try something new. And I remember I just went door to door to door to every business in the college town next to where I was going to school. And I just kept showing up. I had no fucking idea what I was doing. I would just show up in like a button down and a freaking tie, and I'd just be like, "Is the owner in?" And I would just try to explain, what it is we were offering. And then over time, I had some sales material, and then over time, I had brochures, and then I got the pitch better, and then I kept showing up, and then they got to know me. And then over time, like the trust was built well enough that they decided, okay, like let's give it a try. And at first it was free, and then they would pay later. And I was so terrified even to just ask for money, but ultimately like people paid. And I remember just like the first sale that I made where it was like actually something substantial, because we experimented with like pay-per-click, it was like coupons for college students, this type of thing on a website. They could print it or have it texted to their phone. And then they show the coupon to get the discount. So we tried like performance marketing where it was like, oh, like, you pay like a quarter per printed coupon or something like that. Cause it was kind of like, oh, you Google pay per click, pay per lead kind of. But I remember making the first like legit sale where it was like, the business didn't want to pay per print or per click. So instead they said, you know what? We'll just pay you like a flat amount. What do you want? And I said like, I don't know, $300. And I didn't think that we would close it, but I was shocked like when I got that first check, and I was like, wow, right? And looking back now, I mean, that's like nothing compared to what we've done as a business and what we do in like any given sale now, and what one new account is worth to our business. But and I was just so terrified to even ask for the money to ask for the sale. But you get over that with time, right? And it's because I didn't see the world as it is, that, the sale is it's just a matter of like building rapport and showing up and going after it and getting in front of the people who are in the target market. In this case, it was these local college town businesses. I didn't see the world as it is. I saw it as I was. I wasn't sure that it would work. I had so much doubts that even what the hell I was doing to make sales wouldn't work. So to relate to where we are now, I just kind of realized, wow, like I'm not really seeing the problem clearly. Like we don't have to be limited by content to, which again, SEO is kind of at the moment dying. At least it appears to be. And more content is not necessarily going to work. Social media looks like a great option. But if we just go after it, like even if we have to go in multiple directions at once to kind of like figure out what's going to work, if we move swiftly, we're going to solve it swiftly. If we move faster than just swift, we're going to solve it probably a lot faster. I think Alex Hormozi had like a great kind of explanation of this in a recent video too. He just said, what if you just really fucking tried? Like, what if you just really fucking tried to solve whatever problem it is that's in front of you and just go after it and do whatever it is that you kind of in the back of your mind already know that you need to do? So I agree with that. I've agreed with that for a long, long time, even before he said that. And I just think that, like, if I'm seeing the world as I am, as I have been, it's like, well, do I really want to grow the business? And if the answer is truly yes, then are my actions matching up with that desire, with that goal? Because if I truly have that desire in my heart, then I need to take more action. Then I need to, at a minimum, work with the team to help them take action on multiple fronts if needed, so that we can figure out this problem. Because all we need is more impressions at the top of our funnel, and that'll transform the business in terms of bringing more revenue, more profit, and we can keep growing from there. Even if it's cold emails that work, we should try it. We should go after it. Because although AI is fundamentally going to, is changing the whole digital landscape of the web itself, the fundamentals of marketing are still there. They're still there. It's just that the landscape in terms of like how you get in front of your customer may be altered or shifting somewhat. So we're going to look for that greener pasture. I'll keep you posted on the progress. Let me know what you thought of this video. If you liked it, please like it, of course. Subscribe and leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. All right, until next time, I will see you soon.